Comics Plus, Sakasan here, counting down here till Hawkeye makes its way, and you can join us live if you like on Twitch. We'll do a watch along, possibly, hopefully. We are going to take a look at the Marvel Avengers Spider-Man exclusive hands-on preview, and actually, on top of that, while I'm thinking about it, let's also do the Spider-Man Avengers. There's like a comic book that comes with it or something like that. Like it's like a story or something like that. Yeah, it's the Great Power, Great trailer thing. Let me see if I can find it before. Nah, let's just look at the gameplay, I guess. There was a story that came with it, but I don't know if somebody in the chat has a link to it. Let's see what we can do, but let's just get right into it. Here's the hands-on preview. Here we go. Spidey!
Finally, on November 30th, Spider-Man is swinging his way into
the reason I pre-ordered the game.
If you're playing on PlayStation, that is. I recently got the chance to spend 2 hours hands-on with Crystal Dynamics' latest addition to the roster and see everything the
Why does he look like he's still rendering, though? What's up?
Web Slinger has to offer. I came away looking forward to using his abilities more, but a little worried about what it is I'll actually be doing with them.
So I want to know about the story.
A quick note here before we get going that all the footage you're seeing here has been provided by the developers and not captured by us. So
oh man, this looks like a fan game, dude. This looks like a why is it? Look, the Black Panther one did not look this bad. I can't get it out of my head though. Like Spider-Man needs a chiropractor. Somebody said that, dude. All right, let's keep it going. It looks like a Grand Theft Auto mod. That's what it reminds me of. It basically looks like Grand Theft Auto. Playing as Spider-Man in Grand Theft Auto.
You're seeing here has been provided by the developers and not captured by us, so may not illustrate exactly what I'm going to be describing here. Peter Parker's introduction to Avengers is slightly different to previous DLC characters. Called a hero event instead of an operation, Spidey doesn't have any of his own story missions, but instead feels more akin to a character joining a hero shooter roster. As with every other Avenger, Spider-Man comes complete with his own unique moveset and slots right into the frantic action, with a combat style largely centered on quicker
Japanese Spider-Man. Kind of reminds me of the live-action Japanese Spider-Man. That's like with Spider-Man with no special effects, and they basically had to keep like a Power Rangers type of feeling to it. That's what it looks like. He's fighting putties right now.
evades, perfect dodges and quick-fire melee attacks, he plays somewhat similar to a more nimble Black Panther. While a lot of his strikes are your standard
why are you punching air, Spidey?
A more Spidey-like contextual animation will trigger, which feels entirely in keeping with the character. As with any of the Avengers, he also has 3 heroic abilities. Web Bomb causes area of effect damage and is naturally useful for crowd control, but also inflicts the new webbed status effect onto enemies. Once that status effect bar is full, a webbed enemy becomes incapacitated and much easier to take down. The Spider Drone is a patrolling AI companion that fires webs at any foe that wanders into its radius. You can choose whether to instruct it to roam a specific area of the fight, or set it to follow mode, offering some welcome flexibility on the battlefield. Lastly,
why is it so stiff? Yo, what? 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 Hold on, let me bring down that Hawkeye thing real quick. Oh my god. Yo, what in the Grand Theft Auto? Yo, what was that run sequence?
big area of the fight, or set it to follow mode, offering some welcome.
I got the perfect song for that. Oh. Here we go. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, the other characters, did they run like that? I can't even, I don't even remember. Like, Black Widow did not run that weird, right? So stiff. Is that what's happening? Is its costume chafing or something?
Choose whether to instruct it to roam a specific area of the fight, or set it to follow mode, offering some welcome flexibility on the battlefield. Lastly is Spider-Man's ultimate ability, the Wrecking Ball. Effectively a giant ball of webs that smashes down onto the ground to damage anyone near it. It works in a similar fashion to Thor's Bifrost ability. Spider-Man feels great in combat, which
is that so, buddy? Is that so? Kicking air like that? Like, you couldn't at least give him like maximum spider or something like that, man? Like, damn.
which is not entirely surprising. Hero design has never been Marvel's Avengers problem. The same, sadly, can't quite be said for how it feels to play as Spider-Man outside of a fight, though. In this preview build, I got to swing around the eastern seaboard region, which is the closest we're going to get to Peter's native Queens. A very high bar has been set by Insomniac when it comes to the fluid motion of Spider, but even allowing some headroom, Avengers falls quite some distance short of it. Opting for the swing off of anything method, Spider-Man effectively swings from a glass ceiling in the air. In fairness to Crystal Dynamics, this is the only real option, with the majority of Avengers locations being rural, such as deserts and snowy tundra. The developer also doesn't have the luxury of being able to design a whole city around the Spider-Man mechanics like Insomniac has. Despite this, some of the magic is there, especially for the first swing or two after each launch into the air. But that magic often swiftly and unceremoniously evaporates as Parker smacks his face into that aforementioned glass ceiling, and all sense of momentum is lost. The lack of true swinging freedom is noticeable, and while maybe it's unfair to compare it with the Insomniac version, it's honestly questionable whether the swinging here feels any better than Spider-Man 2 did on the PlayStation 2. All illusions are broken once you attempt to swing moderately high into the air. Right. Barrier.
That's the big problem.
Something that also affects wall running, which just stops you ascending somewhere past the 15th story like an out-of-service elevator. Stay low and you can build up some decent momentum, but show much ambition and you'll be met with some pretty restrictive forces. Describing Spidey's arrival as a hero event instead of an operation is basically code for don't expect any story missions, and that's exactly what you're getting. Apart from a short cutscene introducing Spider-Man to the rest of the team, the rest of what I saw of Peter's plotline about a suspicious chemical company was told through audio files, mainly emails and text messages read aloud, obtained once certain objectives were completed. These objectives are all standard Avengers fare that long-term players will be familiar with, such as perform 25 power attacks or play any 2 missions. Apart from a harm room tutorial, there's no new mission content here. The lack of content is definitely frustrating, and those expecting a new set of Spider-Man story missions to play will be left disappointed. One thing that Spider-Man doesn't lack, however, is outfits. Crystal Dynamics' latest addition to their Marvel Skinematic universe comes with around 40 suits. There's every colour under the sun imaginable, as well as some fan favorites from the comics.
Flash has gold boots now! What they fucking do?
Such as the Spider Noir suit. It's clear that a great deal of care has been taken in curating and designing these outfits, so it's a shame that the same attention doesn't seem to have been paid elsewhere regarding new missions or Spidey's traversal. Spider-Man has been a long time coming to Marvel's Avengers, and while it does remain to be seen whether the wait has been worth it, for the moment, his addition feels more like a promise fulfilled through gritted teeth rather than one delivered with a smile.
I agree.
For more Spider-Man in Avengers, why not check out the
that
latest
part
trailer,
right
and
there.
for everything else, stick with IGN.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, somebody brought it up to me earlier today. Isn't this like, somebody reminded me that this thing right here, Spider-Man. This is the thing. This was the catalyst that got me to buy this game. I actually pre-ordered the same day they announced that Spider-Man was coming exclusive to Avengers. I pre-ordered it on PlayStation. And honestly, to be fair, I quite enjoyed the story of the Avengers game, but I did not enjoy the game, actually. That they should have never released it the way they did, and I will forever have in my mind how buggy that game was. Like, people want to make excuses for it, and they're like, look, not every game comes out with some bugs, but I'm like, no, that was story breaking bugs. It was bad. And look, you can patch it up as much as you want, but you can't go back. You can't go back on those impressions. You can't revert those impressions. And, all that these DLCs are doing is just kind of reminding me of like, okay, well, it's still not really that perfect of a game. But for what it's worth, there were moments in the game that I actually quite enjoyed when I was Iron Man flying around taking down that giant beetle-looking caterpillar thing in the game. That was pretty cool, but it got redundant after a while, and I was just like, okay, if this is all there is to it, then I'm kind of done. And so that's where the story falls flat. So even when the DLC came out, it was cool that they brought Aloy in to play girl Hawkeye, but when I actually saw people playing it, I'm like, okay, it looks like more of the same. So I don't know if I'm really that interested in it. So it's interesting that that's the way it went down. But as time went by, even the Black Panther stuff, I actually played it a little bit. It seemed all right, but it just in general, the combat got kind of redundant and boring after a while. So maybe it wasn't meant to be the game. It wasn't meant to be this type of game. Had it been something a little bit differently, because Crystal Dynamics has pulled off some cool stuff. Tomb Raider is a really cool game. I think if it had focused on that, they would have had something a little bit better. If they had actually focused on a story-driven game opposed to a microtransaction, skins, and all this other stuff going on, they probably would have been able to pull off. I think their ambition was way too high for trying to pull something off that wasn't exactly what people were asking for, especially when you look at how many games Marvel has put out in the universe right now. There's so many Marvel games that already have live service kind of microtransaction type stuff going on, that the last thing we needed was a platform game like that. So yeah, I agree with most of you guys. Now, if they were able to pull off, if they were really going to go that route, then they probably should have gone with very similar to DC Online, DC Universe Online. Why don't you just make a Spider-Verse like that, or make a Marvel multiverse like that instead? Maybe that would have been a little bit better, and make it available on all platforms. Who knows? All right, guys, Red Nation, stand up, speak up. Let me know what you guys think, and we will talk to you on the next one. Peace.